Welcome back to the AWS studio here at Mobile World Congress Barcelona, where we recap the latest product announcements, feature launches, customer stories, and so much more. And in the spirit of customer stories, we're going to talk about supercharging customer experience through a unique collaboration between AWS, Accenture, and VMO2. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us today.
That's all. Pleasure to be here.
Start with introductions. Over to you, Alan.
Yeah, I'm Alan Stott. I am the Director of Customer Contact for Virgin Media O2. So that role encompasses customer service, sales, and retention for our contact center estate.
Hi Robbie, my name's Derek Melvin and I'm Accenture's Client Account Lead for VMO2. And that means that I work with Alan and his colleagues every day to bring the best of Accenture to them.
Thanks again, both, for joining. If we roll back the tape to the beginning of the transformation journey, Alan, I know you like to talk about this vision of convergence. You've got 44 locations, 10,500 agents. Talk to me about the vision and strategy.
The vision was led from customer insight. So when you have an organization, as you describe it, as we had at the start of last year, we use the term quite fragmented in our ability to deliver a different experience. So convergence was around customers clearly telling us that in a seamless converged journey, they feel better with and delivering better outcomes. So our path to convergence was through every lens, through locations, through technology, through lines of business, through people. How do we bring all of those things together to deliver very different customer outcomes?
And as we think about Accenture's strategy from this perspective, what was your vision working backwards from some of the pain points that Alan just elucidated?
So I think, Robbie, we have to go back to the start of the journey where, about 2 or 3 years ago, VMO2 asked us to help them answer a strategic question. What does the future of customer service look like? So working together, we looked at that and we explored all the possibilities. And what that threw up was a bunch of ingredients, including requirements for modern cloud and data capabilities, which is, of course, where AWS comes in. And together, we defined the North Star. And then the great news is that VMO2 were bold enough to take the decision to drive the transformation forward. And working with them over the last 2 years, we at Accenture have brought, I think, 3 things. We brought our industry consulting capability, we brought our technology transformation capability to help deliver the AWS Connect platform, and we've also got our operations capability, who are the folks who work with Alan and his team every day to service the VMO2 customers. And I think bringing those things together really helped us to deliver against the business outcomes that Alan and VMO2 are really seeking to achieve.
So again, if we think about those early days, Alan, what were some of the challenges that perhaps you haven't shared yet before? We like to go deeper in the AWS studio into the stories untold.
Yeah. I think we've talked previously about, we brought 2 of the most loved brands together in the UK in our joint venture of Virgin Media and O2. And we made the decision to accelerate the integration of those 2 brands, which is absolutely the right thing to do for our customers. But it's complicated. 2 very different backgrounds, 2 very different technology stacks, 2 very different operating models. So bringing those together is a complicated endeavor. But we were laser focused on making sure that we had that as a priority, supported by the right partner, supported by the right technology, so that we could unpick and, reverse some of those issues that we created by that convergence.
And I think one of those core ingredients to creating that convergence is, of course, data, AI, analytics. From the Accenture perspective, how do you work with those technologies each and every day, and how are you uniquely positioned to address some of the challenges that Alan just mentioned?
Lots of challenges, Robbie, but I think where we started was, as Alan mentioned, lots of different platforms, lots of complexity. So the first job was really to harvest all the data from those platforms and use what we call our journey analytics approach to kind of get to the heart of the customer journey and identify, using data, where those pain points are. That then allowed us to pick and prioritize what we were going to do in terms of the transformation journey. And for the last 2 years, we've been working on that, and then moving forward, we're using AI for things like call summarization, which really helps the agents, helps them deliver a better customer experience. We're also using AI to help the agents make better decisions and understand what's the customer's propensity to call back. Are they going to buy? Can we cross-sell, upsell? So the AI and the analytics and the data that comes from the AWS platform really does help us with that. And then as we move forward, we're looking to the future. What can agentic bring? So we're constantly exploring and seeing what we can do with data and AI and to drive a better customer experience.
I want to go a little bit deeper into your experiences with AI, Alan. But before we get there, we know, of course, that Amazon Connect plays a very central role in this transformation. Sure. What's been your experience so far with all of the breadth and depth of services you've seen AWS bring to you?
It's really refreshing, and the technology decisions that we've made talk to the heart of the strategy that we're trying to execute execute on. We couldn't fulfill the ambition without some of the capabilities that AWS brings, frankly. And we made that decision, that partner decision, very early on. So if we reflect on the problems we talked about earlier on, from a customer point of view, at times there's tensions in operating with Virgin Media O2. This allows us to create a unified platform. As Derek says, we've got great insight from the data that's available to us, and we can start to make different operational decisions as a result of that. Ultimately, we're trying to deliver greater customer experiences. If we have insight, if we have data, if we have platforms, a platform that can enable that, then that's perfect for us and our customers.
Insights plus data plus platform equals immediate results. Can you share a few of those numbers for us?
Yeah, of course. So we are already seeing, and we're still very early in the rollout of the technology to the whole estate. We're starting to see differences in terms of NPS and CSAT at the close of each call. We're starting to see far smarter routing of customer problems to the right agent groups and the right type of agent, which we wouldn't have had pre-migration. Again, when you have a customer that has a certain intent, and we can identify that early, we can route that customer to the right agent for resolution, you see CSAT change as a result. So we're early in adoption. Again, we've only recently completed the full migration, Robbie, but we're seeing different results already.
I want to congratulate you again on the completion. Of course, it's always a journey. But
it is
a tremendous milestone for you and the team, and it's been a testament to the collaboration, the hard work, and the early results we've already seen. And from your perspective, and from Accenture, what are some of the benefits that surprised you the most?
I don't know about surprise, but we really did start out with the intent to be data driven. And Alan's talked about some of those benefits in terms of routing to the right agents. But I think one good example we've seen is recently, we've been using contact lens. And we can really use that in a powerful way. So, one of the challenges that Alan and the team had at VMO2 were customer complaints. And we've used contact lens to really do analytical decision making based on keywords that's given us an insight to where those complaints are coming from which customer, and more importantly, how do we address them? How do we re-engineer the processes to create a better customer experiences that don't create complaints? And I think, those are the sorts of things that we're really seeing now. And as the sort of business transformation partner and the operations partner, we can marry those things together and really deliver the business outcomes for Alan and the team at VMO2. So not so much a surprise. I think it's a real validation of the power that the AWS platform brings.
And so if we look ahead, staying with you, Derek, agentic AI that Alan teased, how do you see that being integrated not only into this solution, but to other offerings that you deliver to your clients?
Well, I think we're at the early stages, Robbie, if I'm being honest. I think we're exploring with Alan how we can take, the improvements that we've made already and take the power of agentic to really drive that forward. In this case with VMO2, that's really all going to be about the continued search for excellence in the customer experience. But not only the customer experience, right? You've got the agent experience. The colleagues in VMO2 need to feel the benefit of what we're doing. So I think agentic's in its early stages. I think, this is the platform that we've built at VMO2, as we've talked about, the data, the insights, the stability of the platform gives us the opportunity to do it in a way that I think, VMO2 are really well positioned to do that in a way that perhaps quite a number of clients perhaps aren't. So we look forward to the exploration that we'll have there.
So in the spirit of looking broader to the industry as a whole, Alan, you're in a unique position to provide advice to others who are embarking upon supercharging their own customer experiences for the first time. Any practical advice, blueprint, strategy?
I think where we got it right at the outset was developing a very clear strategy, simplified in some unique pillars that you could communicate in forums like this. You could communicate to all of your frontline agents. You could communicate to customers. So it was very simple and very straightforward. I think the second thing is expect there will be some bumps in the road. You focus on your North Star, focus on your strategic end game, but appreciate that at times you will need to pivot and change direction a little bit. And the third thing is this is about changing customer outcomes. Never lose sight of that. And whether it's your technology partner, your operations partner, or your internal teams, everyone needs to understand that that's what we're striving for. That's the difference that we're trying to make. And if you don't lose sight of that, you'll execute well.
I'll give you the final word here, Derek. How can folks learn more about the unique collaboration between AWS, Accenture, and VMO2?
Well, I think, we've got this broadcast. It's a great place to start, Robbie, hopefully. And, we've got a public credential together, which is accessible on Accenture.com. And also, we're always happy to have conversations with anyone who wants to come and visit us. Alan and the team have been very accommodating on that. And we've done a lot, I think, together to really share the journey, share the success that we've had. But as Alan said, it is a journey. We're still continuing on it, but we're happy to discuss it with anyone who would like to come and benefit from the experience that we've had together.
Such a tremendous achievement. Congratulations to the entire VMO2 team, and on behalf of the entire AWS for Telecom community, thanks so much for joining us in the studio, and we hope to see you back at MWC next year.